Our last graduates are being seated. As Grand Marshal, it is my absolutely proud honor to open these proceedings here and now in the presence of students, faculty, colleagues, honored guests and relatives and friends. The 2022 commencement exercises of the Icahn School of Medicine at Mount Sinai will now begin.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Eric Nestler, Dean for Academic Affairs and Chief Scientific Officer. Please be seated for those of you who have seats. This is our first live event here in Stern Auditorium since the start of the pandemic. You could see we still are working through the kinks in our process. For those of you guys who don't have a named seat, just take a seat anywhere. We'll be sure you get the right diploma. There are some seats over here on the left, for example, if you want to take those. Along with Dr. Marta Filizzola, our Dean of the Graduate School of Biomedical Sciences, it is our great pleasure to welcome today's graduates, their families and friends to this 7th Masters Only Commencement Ceremony. Most of you are completing 2 years of your master's program, having come to Mount Sinai in fall 2020 at the height of the pandemic. Many of you had missed out on your normal college graduations, arrived in New York City that was still very much under the throes of COVID-related restrictions. This was before we had our COVID vaccines, before the spectacular new treatments for COVID that have since been developed. And although things were better than the prior spring of 2020 in New York City when the virus first hit us here in New York, at that time, the path out of the pandemic was far from clear. All of your classes during that first year were on Zoom. Your social lives with classmates, friends, family were severely constricted. But here we are today. As I mentioned, this is the first live graduation that we've had in 3 years. Let's get an applause for that. Your graduation is testimony to your fortitude and impressive resilience, and to the fact that somehow, some way, life does go on. We are now at the end of the pandemic phase and entering the endemic phase of COVID-19. The virus is going to be with us for decades, like the flu, and we'll have periodic vaccinations to reduce serious disease as much as possible. It is sobering to recall that before the pandemic, influenza still killed on the order of 30 to 50,000 Americans every year, and moving forward, we'll now have to add COVID-19 as an additional ongoing danger. We've learned our lesson, at least for the next decade or two, to take risk of contagion by new viral threats more seriously, and to have an effective public health infrastructure in place to respond far better the next time. That is, until our collective memory fades and we perhaps once again lose our heightened vigilance and preparedness. Unfortunately, such is the course of human history. As I sat down to prepare these remarks today and contemplated your year or two as master's students at Mount Sinai, 2 words came to mind. The first is grit. Wikipedia, which is my source of all knowledge in the world, defines grit as perseverance of effort combined with a passion for a particularly long-term goal. Grit expresses the idea that a crucial component of success is a person's ability to pick a goal and stick with it. Grit is interesting because empirical research has shown that it does not correlate with IQ or standardized test scores. Rather, it is more closely maps a person's and individual's conscientiousness to work hard with scruples and care and to adapt to new experiences like we've all had to do facing the global pandemic. Grit also correlates with happiness, a person's sense of accomplishment and satisfaction, perhaps the most important goal for all of us and our loved ones. Angela Duckworth, a University of Pennsylvania psychologist who studies grit, writes, and I quote, "Grit depends on a different kind of hope. It rests on the expectation that our own efforts can improve our future." This brings up the second word that came to mind, optimism. Optimism may seem like an ephemeral stance in today's world, from the COVID-19 pandemic to warning signs in the world economy, most notably inflation, which erodes our livelihoods, hopes, and expectations for the future, to the Russian invasion of Ukraine, to school shootings that somehow have become part of American life, to the severe divide in our national politics, to continued disparities in society based on gender and race, education, and opportunity. And of course, it's far easier to have grit and optimism if you have financial means and don't have to face discrimination and bias. But I remain as optimistic today as ever before. I think that America's and the world's best days are in front of us. This is especially poignant for today's graduation because each of your master's degrees, regardless of whether you're going on to more schooling or entering the workforce now, imbue you with the ability to make our world better. Your advanced training in biomedical and clinical research, in public health, in healthcare administration and delivery, in data science, in genetic counseling, and more, prepare you to take on many of today's greatest challenges and make a difference to leave our local, national, and global community a better place than it is today. I am confident that you and your generation will do just that. Benjamin Franklin once said, quote, "While we may not be able to control all that happens to us, we can control what happens inside us." I place my bet on you and what you will each do with your exciting careers. Please keep in touch with us. Best of luck with your careers, and remember that you will always be part of the Mount Sinai family. Thank you. It is now my privilege to introduce Dr. Torian Easterling, Deputy Commissioner and Chief Equity Officer of the New York City Department of Health and Mental Hygiene, to receive an honorary degree. Presenting the degree is Dr. Nils Hennig, Director of our graduate program in public health. Following the presentation of the degree, Dr. Easterling will address the graduates. Dr. Easterling and Dr. Hennig, please come forward.
Torian, before I begin, I would like to say that I still remember when you, as a resident, invited me to Jamaica Hospital. That is, thank you. Since then, we have worked together in Liberia and other places, and you've become a colleague and a friend. So I'm really thrilled you're here today. Dr. Torian Easterling, you are a family and community physician and pioneered health equity, social justice, and movement builder who has dedicated your career to tackling some of the most complex and pressing public health disparities of New York City and of our time. These issues include violence, maternal health outcomes, and chronic diseases. Throughout your career, you have collaborated with community members and leaders, healthcare institutions, city and state agencies, and other groups to advance and operationalize an equity framework that achieves the health outcomes that all people deserve, both locally and globally. Since 2020, you have served as the first Deputy Commissioner and Chief Equity Officer of the New York City Department of Health and Mental Hygiene. With your appointment, during the unprecedented crisis of the intersection of COVID-19 and long-standing racial inequity, you have worked diligently to combat systemic health inequities and build trust in public health efforts among community members. You have tackled issues like vaccine hesitancy among people of color and the continued impact of COVID-19 on the physical and mental health of communities, with particular focus on the Black community, to achieve a more equitable city and a healthier New York. You previously served in other leadership roles within the agency and within the Department of Health Bureau of Brooklyn Neighborhood Health. You earned your bachelor degrees at Morehouse College, your medical degree from Rutgers, New Jersey Medical School, and your Master of Public Health from the Icahn School of Medicine at Mount Sinai. Your residencies were in family medicine at Jamaica Hospital Medical Center in Queens, New York, and in general preventive medicine at the Mount Sinai Hospital at the Icahn School of Medicine at Mount Sinai. You're also a high-profile advocate for the need for more Black physicians and healthcare workers.
Good afternoon, everyone. What an honor, what an honor. Such an honor to be recognized by your home institution. Hopefully it means that I've done something right. I want to thank Dr. Nestler, I want to thank Nils and Dr. Phil Zola for that kind and generous introduction. I certainly want to thank, even in his absence, Dean Charney, all of the entire faculty and administration and staff of Icahn School of Medicine at Mount Sinai. I would be remiss if I did not acknowledge the two individuals who I would say have been really critical in my time here at this institution, Dr. Liz Garland. Thank you so much. Dr. Niels Henning, as he mentioned, yes. There's a child's book. I have a 2-year-old and a 4-month-old now. There's a children's book that I read to my daughters quite often by Jacqueline Woodson. The year we learned how to fly. This institution taught me how to fly in the public health space. Thank you so much. It gave me my wings. And so what I say to all of the graduates, I want to thank all of you, Mount Sinai Master's graduates of 2022, for your commitment and hard work during extraordinarily difficult and complicated times. As Dr. Nesser had already mentioned, I can only imagine the challenge many of you face these past 2 years, especially for those of you who were yearning to be in a fully in-person learning environment, but had to spend part or all of your graduate experience Zooming in from home. I know that those of you from outside the US also faced additional obstacles, as did any of you whose race or background made getting and focusing on your education so unfairly difficult in a time of heightened discrimination and physical threat. For all of you, I only hope that your decision to pursue careers and lives in public health and healthcare, in science and research, and in leadership and public service has been reconfirmed. And I hope too that your dedication strengthened as you dug deep into your studies and practice amid unprecedented and often fearful circumstances. It's an honor to return to my alma mater and receive this honorary degree. I share it with my colleagues at the health department and around this city, including no small share of Mount Sinai graduates who have made so many sacrifices to protect New Yorkers over the last 2.5 years, often at personal risk to themselves and their families. I share it with you because you too were part of this brave and dedicated team of responders. You helped run clinical trials. You studied the pandemic's effect on different communities, implement vaccination programs, and relieve staff shortages, especially during the Omicron surge. You helped coordinate the student workforce, which helped to increase staffing coverage, as well as test hundreds of students returning to campus. You volunteered in neighboring communities, delivered meals to hospital patients, and served in countless ways to support those in need, including each other. And you did all of this while juggling your own personal responsibilities, confronting your own fears and traumas, and in many cases, working multiple stressful jobs, all while pursuing your degree full-time. You are not emerging health leaders. You've been health professionals and heroes for quite some time already. And so now I want to make sure that we give you all a huge round of applause for this moment that you are embracing. So I would like to share a few lessons, and I will absolutely take my seat. I do not want to be the one in the way of you getting your degree. But I do want to share this honor with you. I dedicate it to those we have lost to COVID and who are in mourning. A group that we must remember continues to grow each day, even as so much else about this pandemic has changed. We must also remember that this group does not equitably reflect the overall population, most especially in terms of race and class. I was incredibly honored to be appointed in September 2020 as the health department's first deputy commissioner and chief equity officer, a combination that suggests how intrinsically equity is tied to our mission and how deeply committed we have been to putting anti-racism practices into action during COVID and into everything else as we move forward. That commitment to equity must be shared by leaders and health practitioners across all professions. It cannot be a secondary or a luxury priority. Let's be clear. If I had been invited to speak at Mount Sinai and receive such a distinguished honor as this just a few years ago, I certainly would have thought long and hard, not out of lack of respect for the extraordinary faculty and students who are here, whom I have always held in high esteem, but because the school's Center for Anti-Racism in Practice, the Office of Gender Equity, Diversity, Innovation Hub, and related initiatives had not yet been formed or fully realized. I salute Mount Sinai for the leaps it made in the past few years to confront internally and externally the issues of diversity, of equity, and inclusion in science and medicine. And I'm certainly thankful that it's being recognized for facing these realities faced on. Similar, I would not have joined the New York City Health Department if it had not been centering anti-racism as a philosophy and goal for years prior, especially impressive for a government institution. But while the department has taken a whole city and whole person approach to public health, for decades, it has still fallen to the trap of good intentions. And around health inequity in particular, good intentions without rigorous science, data-informed analysis, a clear-eyed understanding of root systemic causes, and a fierce ideology of purpose matched with the boldness of vision are stultifying. What James Baldwin once scathingly described as the folly and the cowardice of good intentions have long enabled people and institutions embedded in systems of power, the DOH not excluded, to at best miss the mark on effecting real change. Good intentions did not prevent Black, Brown, and Indigenous people in New York and around the country from experiencing disproportionate rates of illness, hospitalization, and death from COVID. Not at all unrelatedly, no amount of equal protection laws or corporate diversity measures kept Black, Brown, and Indigenous people from disproportionately being unemployed or underemployed, experiencing housing and food insecurity, living in crowded and unsafe conditions, or working essential jobs, all things directly correlated with worse outcomes from COVID-19. When I'm asked to describe the work I do, I answer in one word: change. And the work of change comes in three main forms: changing minds, changing lives, and changing society. As scientists, researchers, health professionals, and public health leaders, our jobs largely revolve around changing minds. We present new and challenging ideas, we identify problems and suggest alternatives, we expand people's field of vision and open up realms of possibility. For me, my mind was changed at Morehouse, the legendary historically Black college where professors and classmates taught me to think beyond myself, to find my voice as a Black man. All Morehouse men are challenged to grow tall enough to wear the crown that Morehouse holds over your head, something I might have taken too literally. And then as a first-year medical student, it was changed during a 6-week trip I spent in Ghana examining traditional Western influence healing practices. It was there I first came to recognize how social and community factors impacted health outcomes. Now in my role at the health department over the last 2.5 years, the more public-facing part of my job has been to change people's mind about vaccines. But a more long-standing and behind-the-scenes part of my work involved changing minds, both inside and outside the agency, around public health itself, around equity and why it matters, around why notions like equality, inclusivity, and even diversity are insufficient to eliminate inequities and make the larger changes we need. Of course, changing minds does not automatically result in changing lives. It takes a lot of work. But when you're lucky enough to directly change lives, the rewards, as I hope and suspect you've come to know, are indeed profound. I give a lot of credit to this understanding for my affiliations with some amazing organizations and institutions that seek to defend human rights, such as the Malcolm X Grassroots Movement, a national organization with several chapters in major cities like New York City. One of its pivotal practice is Cop Watch, a program that monitors and documents police actions in Black and Brown communities. When I was a member of MXGM, comrades and I launched a food delivery program called Feed Newark. Like the Black Panther Party, which we drew a lot of our inspiration from, we knew that changing lives meant to change the conditions in which people lived in. At Rutgers, New Jersey Medical School, I led a team of fellow budding young doctors as we expanded the school's student medical run clinic, adding clinics in local shelters and bringing clinical and social services to people who sorely needed them. The results were indeed life-changing, and we have the data to back it up. I mentioned earlier that a big part of my job has been to change people's mind about vaccines, specifically to explain to people who are reluctant or doubtful or suspicious that the vaccines are safe and that they will offer important added protection to them and their loved ones. And indeed, to the extent I, or more accurately, this mass public health effort, of which I am only one small part, have been successful, lives have indeed been changed. The more people who are vaccinated, the more people gain a level of protection from COVID-19, and hopefully the spread of the virus will lessen. Again, it takes a lot of work. It also takes patience and follow through, or sometimes, as I have learned, a whole lot of public service announcements. A few weeks ago, while I was dining out with my family, an older Black woman announced herself, walked over, announced her age, winked at my wife before approaching me, and proudly proclaimed that my PSAs on the COVID vaccine significantly impacted her decision to get one. But even better, she said, was the example I set for so many other members of our community. These are the moments that make it worth it. Changing minds and changing lives. But as critical as these are, they only go so far. Changing society, or really the systems that make up our society, is the toughest change of all. How do we change the structures that demand so much change in the first place? Changing the systems that are rooted in racism and sexism, and LGBT phobia, xenophobia, and every other form of discrimination. And hate is not a linear process. It does not flow naturally from good intentions. You are going out into a world where the inherent violence of longstanding institutional white supremacy continues to emerge over and over again. We're certainly still reeling from the most recent attacks in Buffalo, New York, as well as Uvalde, Texas. Our systems of law and policing are enshrining the open dehumanization of queer people and women, and their rapacious capitalism is resulting in climate catastrophe that will lead into global suffering and harm, especially for people of color and individuals living in low-income communities. Speaking out will not be enough. I hate to say it, but as necessary as it is, voting will not be enough. Even changing minds and lives will not be enough. Last year, my colleagues at the health department and I wrote something of a manifesto, passed unanimously by the New York City Board of Health in October, resolving that racism is in fact a public health crisis. Yes, resolving, not merely declaring. The meat of the resolution is a concrete set of rigorous, system-disrupting action items to which we will be held internally and externally accountable to. This is largely my job to oversee. And in your roles as biomedical scientists, as clinical researchers, as biostatisticians, epidemiologists, genetic counselors, data scientists, and healthcare administrators, deliverers, and leaders, I will be turning to you for your partnership and help. We will need all of us. My daughters, as I mentioned, my oldest, who was born on the day of New York City announced his first reported COVID case on March 1st. My youngest, who was born this past February, just as the peak of the Omicron wave. My daughters will need all of us. Your family, who are here today to witness this monumental occasion, will need everything we have. The best leadership advice I can give in this moment is also the best leadership advice I've ever received. Always be prepared to take the next challenge, even when you're unprepared. We can prepare for the unpreparable by joining in solidarity, by resolving to change the systems that imprison far too many of us, and by never settling for good intentions. May you be steadfast and resolute in your search for change. Thank you. Oh, okay.
Thank you, Dr. Easterling. Your approach to finding solutions that are inclusive and that apply a racial equity lens to healthcare and public health is innovative and visionary. For devoting your career to improving the health and well-being of our city, state, and nation, and especially our communities of color, it is a privilege to confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa. It is now time to hear from our student speaker, Mackenzie Langan, a candidate for a Master of Science in Biomedical Sciences degree. Mackenzie was selected by her fellow graduates for this honor. Mackenzie.
Hi, everyone. As Dr. Nessler said, my name is Mackenzie. I'm one of the many students graduating today, and it is my great pleasure to once again welcome all of the students, families, friends, and faculty to the Icahn School of Medicine at Mount Sinai's Graduate School of Biomedical Science 2022 Master's Commencement. Mark Twain once said, "Keep away from people who try to belittle your ambitions. Small people always do that, but the really great make you feel that you too can become great." This also applies to great institutions like Mount Sinai. Upon reflecting over my last 2 years as a master's student, I am met with joy and admiration, thinking about the mentors I have gained and the incredibly intelligent, hardworking, and passionate students I am surrounded by every day. As I look around the room and as I looked around the student lounge, I realized that some of you look very different from the little boxes on my computer screen where we all first met back in August of 2020. And most of you are a lot taller than I imagined. And while I don't want to spend this time talking about COVID, I do want to take a moment to congratulate this class for overcoming the immense level of adversity that we all faced as we began our programs. Many of us here started our masters from our kitchen tables, living rooms, or parents' homes on a computer during the most unprecedented time in our life. Since then, so many of us have put ourselves in positions to help bring this pandemic to an end by volunteering to administer COVID vaccines and cumulatively working hundreds of hours giving out COVID tests when the Omicron surge ravaged its way through our community. From the Zoom classrooms to the front line, each one of us has overcome so much in such a short period of time. And though I don't know what the future may hold for us, here is what I do know. During the last 2 years, I'm certain that every student here has found what they believe are the best bagels in New York City. Obviously, it's Corner Bagel Shop on 93rd Street. And we definitely have all learned how to walk a lot faster. But really, we've all learned how to live in discomfort and uncertainty. When you think about it, we do this every day, figuring out why our code didn't run or an experiment yielded unexpected results, and finding creative solutions to solve problems that we face in the lab, in our research, and within our own community. The moment each of us accepted our offers at Mount Sinai, we likely had no idea that we would have the privilege to learn, work, and receive guidance from some of the top researchers in the country. People who have inspired me and countless others to achieve our ambitions. And throughout our time here, we've learned how to leverage the unique skill set that we all have attained through our own diverse and lived experiences. Together, we have contributed to building a community that not only recognizes potential, but strives towards excellence. It's no secret that the students here are brilliant, but some of us came into our programs with something to prove, committing to working as hard as we could to not only excel, but to come out on top. And maybe that's a byproduct of being involved in research, where you finally have the chance to be the one answering questions that no one else has the answer to, questions that maybe you never thought were possible to answer yourself. And no one ever said that graduate school was easy or that moving somewhere new didn't come with challenges. In fact, when I first moved to New York City, I would often get off the subway the wrong way, and then I would get halfway down the block before realizing that I was going the wrong way and had to turn around. And I think back to this girl who I was 2 years ago, one who would literally whip around in the middle of the sidewalk to go back the way she came. And while most people would tell you in life that you should look forward and look towards the future, sometimes it's okay to look back and realize how far you've come. Surely, many people in this room have been told that they would fail at least once, maybe even a few dozen times. I certainly know that I have. But looking around this room today, I'm thankful to be looking into the faces of really great people who make me feel that I too can become great. So thank you and congratulations, class of 2022. We did it.
Thank you, Mackenzie. I am now delighted to introduce Dr. Marta Filizzola, Dean of our Graduate School of Biomedical Sciences.
Hi everyone, my name is Marta Filizzola. I'm the Dean of the Graduate School. On behalf of the Graduate School, I would like to add my welcome to that of Dean Nessler. And I'm thrilled to be able to welcome you back to our first in-person commencement since 2019. I'm sincerely appreciative that all of you can join me today in celebrating the phenomenal accomplishments of this year's graduates. We conclude our academic year by awarding degrees to a truly diverse cohort of students who have had a graduate school experience like no other. Class of 2022, as I stand here, I applaud your passion, your dedication, and your commitment to hard work. Your experience at the graduate school has been like no other, and working through the challenges you were presented is a testament to your perseverance and these qualities. And of course, we cannot forget to thank our outstanding faculty who have worked tirelessly to offer you a robust, high quality, and personalized educational experience, notwithstanding the many limitations imposed by the pandemic. Not only have you witnessed history at the Icahn School of Medicine at Mount Sinai during the COVID-19 pandemic, you have also helped make history with your extraordinary contributions to biomedical research and volunteer work across the health system. That history is recorded in a new book, Relentless: How a Leading New York City Health System Mobilized to Battle the Greatest Health Crisis of Our Era. The book presents a definitive account of Mount Sinai's response to COVID-19, including the selfless efforts of students who helped to save lives and protect New Yorkers from the pandemic. Each student will be receiving a copy of Relentless today, and we hope that it will be a reminder of your role in Mount Sinai's historic battle against COVID-19. May it also serve as an inspiration for you throughout your career to protect the health of the public and advance science and medicine for the good of humanity. We are proud of the diverse group of talented students graduating today, and now more than ever, we see a need for that diversity in science and healthcare. Our graduates are from around the world, and they have enriched our programs with their diversity in language, culture, and experience. The backgrounds of our students brought to our program spread across nationalities, socioeconomics, race, gender, and sexuality, and has been an asset to all of our experiences. These diverse backgrounds have allowed us to examine how we consider the thought and approach we take in addressing and working to solve complex issues and problems. You have seen your studies through and added to your growing abilities, and now, when they are needed most, you will be applying your new skills across biomedical and clinical research, data science, genetic counseling, public health, epidemiology, health administration, and healthcare leadership. We have worked together to prepare you to meet some of the greatest challenges these fields have ever faced, and we know you are ready for them. As you move forward, remember that you have Mount Sinai behind you. Through your time with us as a student has come to an end, you are taking your next steps. And as alumni, you will always be a part of our community. As the graduate school, we strive to be a place where students are supported, respected, and appreciated. We hope you carry those values forward as alumni and know that we are a place where you are always welcome to return for collaboration or a visit, for another degree or mentoring, for guidance or advice. You will always be a part of our growing and diverse graduate school community. Congratulations again on all of your accomplishments today. We cannot wait to see how you continue to make a difference in the world today. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Filizzola. Well, the next part of the commencement proceedings is the part you've all been waiting for, the conferral of master's degrees. I also want to comment on how much I love seeing the young children in the audience. Mount Sinai class of 2045, perhaps. We'll be giving hoods and diplomas to our graduates today for the following degrees, and bear with me, it is a mouthful. Master of Science in Biomedical Data Science, Master of Science in Biostatistics, Master of Science in Healthcare Delivery Leadership, Master of Health Administration, Master of Science in Clinical Research, Master of Science in Biomedical Sciences, Master of Science in Epidemiology, and Master of Public Health. The directors of each of these programs will hood their students, and Dr. Brian Nickerson, Senior Associate Dean for Postdoctoral Affairs, for master's programs, and Dr. Basil Hans, Senior Associate Dean for Postdoctoral and Student Affairs, will read the names of the graduates. Please welcome Dr. Nickerson.
Good afternoon, everyone. First, we will award the Master of Science in Biomedical Data Science. It is my pleasure to introduce Li Shen, Co-Director, Master of Science in Biomedical Data Science Program.
Hello, my name is Li Shen. Okay. And I'm here as one of the co-directors of the Master of Science in Biomedical Data Science program. I'm excited today to congratulate 7 graduates of our program. The MS-BDS program was started in 2019 to reflect the increased role that the data and algorithms play in both basic biomedical research and clinical decision-making. We have now graduated 2 cohorts of students. Today, I am pleased to congratulate Rodrigo, Zoe, Rahat, Gabe, John, Zipporah, and Thomas as they receive their degrees. These students have completed outstanding projects that illustrate the expertise they have gained at Mount Sinai. Our program aims to prepare our graduates to become leaders in the rapidly emerging field of biomedical data science. The training involves a solid grounding in basic biomedical sciences, coursework in computational approaches, such as algorithms and machine learning, and a capstone project where the students perform original research that demonstrates their ability to apply what they have learned in class. This year, our students have completed extremely interesting capstone projects in a variety of areas, including detection of brain aging from pathology, interactions between ethnicity and breast cancer mutations, and automated analysis of electrocardiograms. These impressive projects illustrate the power of BDS and the wide range of its potential applications. To our graduates, I offer my heartfelt congratulations. I hope now you have the tools you need to pursue your career in BDS. And I have every confidence that you will make a significant impact in the future. Congratulations.
Will the candidates' names please come on stage individually as I call your name? Zoe Goldstein. Gabrielle Marks. Next, we will award the Master of Science in Biostatistics. Please allow me to introduce Professor Alan Weinberg, Co-Director, Master of Science in Biostatistics Program. Mr. Weinberg will be speaking today, and the hooding of the graduates will be done by Dr. Amelia Bagella, Director of the Center for Biostatistics, Co-Director of the Master of Science in Biostatistics Program. Professor Weinberg.
Good afternoon. It is with extreme pleasure that we welcome the 2022 class completing successfully the Master of Science in Biostatistics. Biostatistics embraces public health, clinical and translational medicine, basic sciences, and population health. The MS in Biostatistics at Mount Sinai is a unique program designed to prepare individuals with a strong quantitative background for successful careers as applied biostatisticians in clinical and biomedical research. Over the course of 1 year, students in the MS in Biostats program complete a rigorous curriculum that includes advanced and innovative courses in statistical theory and methods. Students are trained in the statistical methodology as well as in practical problem solving, critical thinking, and proficient statistical programming. A year-long capstone prepares students to actively participate in biostatistics consultations, learn strategies for effective communication with clinical and translational investigators, and develop a mentored research project with investigators at Mount Sinai. Our curriculum emphasizes strong quantitative training and practical strategies for addressing complex methodological challenges in clinical and translational research. As graduates with a Master of Science in Biostatistics, you start today a career in one of the most dynamic, exciting, and ever-growing fields. With the tools of analysis and methodology you have learned, you will become an integral part of crucial transformations in clinical practice in public health. Considering what we have all been through and are still going through and still face in this COVID-19 era, I can't stress enough the importance of our field. I am sure everyone listening agrees. Some of you have already secured a job. Congratulations. You have joined a community of scientists who every day work to improve health and advance basic, transitional, and clinical science. Whether you work in industry or academia, in the public or private sector, or for those of you who from this point decide to pursue further studies, your expertise in biostatistics will make a sure impact. To Thomas Dolan, Benjamin Kroslowitz, Hirsch Makija, Catherine McDonough, and Stephen Zen, I've had the profound pleasure to have taught you this past year and have gotten to know each of you, the pleasure of a small class. You are a talented and hardworking group, and I believe all of you will reap the benefits of our program and will go far. It really was a personal joy for me. I know we will be hearing great things about you. On behalf of Dr. Amelia Bagella, distinguished faculty, and I, it has been our distinct pleasure to have shared this important year with you. We are proud of your accomplishments, and we wish you a rich and successful career. Congratulations and good luck to all. Thanks.
Will the candidates please come up to stage individually as I call your names? Thomas Dolan. Benjamin Krosolowitz. Hirsch Makija. Catherine McDonough. Stephen Zhen. Now, we will award the Master of Science in Healthcare Delivery Leadership degrees, which I have the pleasure of doing as director of that program. 2 years ago, several highly experienced and already accomplished healthcare professionals from diverse backgrounds and experiences made an inspired decision to undertake a robust training program whereby they would acquire new strategic knowledge and advanced leadership tools to champion necessary change. And in the process of doing so, have positioned themselves to become part of the new face of healthcare leadership in their organizations and beyond. During long hours of dedicated to advanced study, they have developed deeper understanding of the implications for new, rapidly accelerating and complex trends in healthcare delivery, in addition to managing their full-time jobs, often 50, 60-hour weeks, and serving and leading others through a pandemic. Throughout this process, they have transformed themselves and others, and now stand further prepared to expand their leadership influence and drive the systemic change necessary to improve healthcare delivery systems that we all rely upon. They represent the best of a Mount Sinai education in so many ways, but in particular because they manifest the Mount Sinai spirit to experiment, to innovate, to persevere, to lead, and to find new solutions in places where others have not even dared to try. To this graduating class, your colleagues and others will learn from your endeavors and be inspired by your determination and leadership. Thank you for your dedication to bear the noble responsibility in leading change. To all, please join me in congratulating all of the members of our graduating class for the Master of Science in Healthcare Delivery Leadership. Thank you.
Will the candidates please come up on stage individually as I call your name? Heather Brenner. Rosemary Espinal. Jesse Joas. Shauna Patterson. Daniel Smith. Georgios Syros. Congratulations to everyone.
We will continue with awarding the Master of Health Administration degrees. Also the director of that program. The Master of Health Administration was launched in January 2020. It's designed to create a new class of skilled and well-prepared administrators to drive systemic change. Also, innovation and improved value in healthcare delivery systems. Recognizing that the skills to implement innovation are just as necessary for the ones envisioning new strategies, the program forges healthcare administrators who are adept at managing and leading change in a highly uncertain and demanding environment. Our students master a range of change management skills across population health, finance, operations, policy, information technology, and quality assurance, just to name a few. This year, we have the distinct pleasure in recognizing the first full cohort of graduates of this program. While we could use words like prepared, resilient, tough, determined to describe these graduates, it still seems incomplete since they have not only managed themselves and their families through a global pandemic, but they have simultaneously leaned in to deepen their expertise and professional skills in a turbulent and highly uncertain environment, all the while maintaining an unshaken belief that they can make a true difference in addressing systemic problems of healthcare. So while others binge watched Netflix series after series during the days of the pandemic, these graduates leveraged their time to master new tools and position themselves as true agents of change. This combination of hard work, resilience, and undeterred optimism should make everyone in this room feel that we have a fighting chance to finally tackle the many unacceptable conditions of and gaps in healthcare delivery systems that still plague us today. We are looking at the future of this change in these graduates right here in front of us today. So to our MHA graduates, let me be the first to welcome you to the rank of Mount Sinai alum, where you join an outstanding group of professionals uniquely prepared to fulfill the commitment of creating positive and enduring change for patients, your organizations, society at large. We wish you every continued success.
Will the candidates please come up on stage individually as I call your name? Miguelina Calderon. Daisy Chen. Rihanna Copeland. Sarah Lee De Jesus. Sivan Ertel. Alyssa First. Sophia Gerard. Maisha Ann Green. Zara Ishad. Sharjeel Khan. Alexandra Leland. Adina Lieshnanan. Ashwin Mehta. Nicole Murray. Timothy Ng. Devansi Patel. Barun Saberwal. Shannon Shirley. Jenny Sun. Trisha Marie Tagle. Heidi Wong. Jacqueline Yoon. Congratulations to everyone.
Next, we will award the Master of Science degree in Clinical Research degrees. Please welcome Dr. Janis Gabrielov, Director, Clinical Research Education Program. Dr. Gabrielov.
Congratulations, class of 2022 in the Masters of Science in Clinical Research. You are amazing. Today, as graduates of the Master of Science in Clinical Research, you are uniquely poised to harness the promise of clinically informed scientific discoveries so as to meaningfully and impactfully affect human health and solve problems of disease. As stated in the Fundamentals of a Translational and Clinical Scientist, co-authored by Dr. Chris Austin, founding director of the National Center for Translational Sciences and current CEO of Vasilis Therapeutics, clinical and translational scientists are rigorous researchers, domain experts, process innovators, boundary crossers, system thinkers, skilled communicators, and team players. The critical importance of this mindset with an equity lens and research capacity has never been more apparent than in the wake of the COVID pandemic. The field of clinical and translational science offers compelling opportunities in the rapidly emerging world of global health challenges, social justice, bioethical principles, ever present in the context of artificial intelligence and its applications, patient-oriented research to advance human health, digital health and quantified self, novel therapeutic discovery and development, diagnostics and biomarker development, first-in-man approaches and innovative trial designs to more rapidly advance treatment outlooks for many diseases, genome editing strategies, and opportunities for breakthrough science with immediate curative intent, and the rapidly evolving field of precision medicine. Your critical thinking acumen and rigorous training in research methodology, as evidenced by this degree achievement, will enable you to be innovators, influential leaders, and successful contributors to the emerging and evolving landscape of team science. Recent graduates have started companies, pursued medical and surgical residencies, identified novel therapeutics, provided compelling data to better inform treatment decisions, delineated health disparities in cancer care, developed innovative algorithms and biomarkers to guide treatment decisions, and published meta-analyses to delineate the weight of the evidence in favor or against specific approaches to care. These are just a few of the impressive and impactful examples of T1 to T4 clinical and translational science pursued by our students. We welcome each of you today as colleagues in this exciting field of clinical research and translational investigation in patient-oriented research. We wish you all the best as you continue in your chosen career path and look forward to learning of your many future accomplishments and successes. Bravo.
Will the candidates please come up on stage individually as I call your name? Glenda Alfonso Castillo. Olivia Cullen. Elizabeth Fernandez. Jasmine Modasi. And Tanya Robin. Congratulations to everyone.
Next, we will award the Master of Science and Biomedical Sciences degree. It is my pleasure to ask Dr. Basil Hans to address the graduates. Dr. Hans.
On behalf of the MSBS leadership team and staff, Jose, Josh, Colleen, and Roland, I'd like to add our welcome to the families and friends of the graduating students. Also, a huge congratulations to all of our 2022 graduates. Congratulations. As Brian said, my name is Basil Hans, and I'm currently the Senior Associate Dean for Postdoctoral and Student Affairs. But up until October of this academic year, I was the director of the MSBS program, a role I played for nearly 10 years. It has been an extraordinarily rewarding time for me. And that reward is directly tied to the students of the MSBS program. So thank you. You are an incredible group, and I'd like to take a second for you just to raise your hand so everybody can see where you are, so I know where you are too. For those of you who do not know the MSBS program, it is a stepping stone program, which means students come to MSBS to be better prepared for their next step in their professional development. For most, this includes applications to PhD, MD, or MDH programs, MD-PhD programs rather, and for some, jobs in industry and biotech. They are here to make themselves better scientists and better students. They work incredibly hard. Not only do they have to excel in the classroom and do outstanding cutting-edge research, but they need to do all of the extra things to give them a better application for their next step. It's a lot. I could spend hours talking about all the accomplishments they've made, but suffice it to say that they push the academic standards in the classroom. They are often overrepresented in the upper quartile of the students in a class. Many have authored one or more papers, and they often contribute to the culture and clinical mission of Mount Sinai through their volunteer work. Their impact is palpable and very important. To the MSBS students, I'm impressed and grateful for the tremendous effort you put into your time here. You never cease to amaze and impress me. Your accomplishments have been great and your future is bright. Jose, Josh, Colleen, Roland, and I wish you the very best of luck in your next step. We are very proud of you and we can't wait to see all that you accomplish. Congratulations.
Will the candidates please come on stage as their names are individually called? Eric Acosta. Alicia Belcher. Tori Janenchuk. Yesha Davi. Karen David. Marissa Farinas. Rita Fudamoro. Ravi Gotra. Rajiv Joshi. Rasan Kaleji. Mackenzie Langan. Caroline McLaughlin. Enga Minan. Christy Nablo. Andrew Nicholas. Chinadu Odavelli. Ashley Padilla. Brooke Remsen. Ricardo Reyes. Karan Rose. Veronica Rosselli. Madrika Daphne Saturn. Jay Sobel. Brandon Stevens. Tiangvet Anvo. Cindy Wang. Michael Williams. Nishka Mittal. Next, we will award the Master of Science in Epidemiology degrees. Please welcome Dr. Danya Valvi, Co-Director, Masters in Epidemiology Program.
Oof. Now I can speak. Okay, so dear all, it's with extreme pleasure, excitement, and honor that I present you today the first class of graduates from the Master of Science in Epidemiology. So where are you? Raise your hand if you are graduating from the MS in Epidemiology. Hey, there you are. Enjoy this moment and think of all the amazing things you have accomplished in the past few months. As you know, we specifically designed the Master of Science in Epidemiology to well train and prepare the next generation of epidemiologists to face the major public health challenges that we face today and we will face in the future. You have successfully completed a very rigorous program and acquire deep understanding about how to formulate new research questions that can change this world into a better place. You now know how to design rigorous population studies, how to work and engage with vulnerable communities, how to design rigorous population studies, how to best collect and analyze data using advanced quantitative methods, and more importantly, how to communicate science and translate epidemiology knowledge into science-based approaches that can make this place a better place for all. What an amazing year of personal and professional transformations this has been for you all. As a physician and epidemiologist myself, I'm deeply grateful and would like to thank each one of our graduates today. You are entering the profession of epidemiology that is now in high demand at a time where we really need you. I want to highlight also this. You are the bravest class. You are the ones who have chosen to study epidemiology while confronting the worst pandemic and public health crisis in a century. How inspirational and brave this is. You have demonstrated devotion and most importantly, empathy. Empathy for helping each other and making this world a healthier place for all. That's the spirit we acknowledge and celebrate today. Thank you for that. As your journey continues to unfold, no matter what professional career path you choose in academia, federal agencies, the private sector or else, I want you to remember that everyone at Mount Sinai, we are all in this together with you. And we will continue to support you in addressing the challenges you will face in the future. We wish you all the best in achieving a successful and meaningful career in epidemiology, and we are looking forward to celebrating your many future accomplishments. Enjoy this moment of celebration of your important achievements and then go to make this world a better place. I know you got this. Please join me in congratulating once more our first class of graduates of the Master of Science in Epidemiology.
Will the candidates please come on stage individually as their names are called? Karen Awonawo. Brittany Gaines. In-Hei Wang. Candice Medina. Tomer Musica. Sabrina Oliveros. Nina Zaks. For our final group of graduates for this commencement exercises, we will award the Master of Public Health degrees. To do this, please welcome back Dr. Nils Hennig.
Yeah. I promise these are the last remarks of the day. All right. So good afternoon. I hope this ceremony finds you healthy and safe. I want to take a brief moment to acknowledge the over 1 million fellow human beings who have died from COVID-19 in this country since the beginning of the pandemic. Worldwide, there have been reported more than 6.3 million deaths. I want to acknowledge the grief and sorrow we feel about lost family members, friends, and colleagues. I wish you courage, strength, and love to help you through your loss. The encouraging news is that as of today, more than 12 billion vaccine doses have been administered worldwide. The rapid development of vaccines and the number of vaccines doses administered is an unparalleled public health success. I also want to acknowledge the horrors of Putin's war of aggression in Ukraine. Russian forces are inflicting extreme violence and atrocities against innocent civilians. It is difficult to comprehend the scale of slaughter unleashed. The health impacts of this war of aggression do not stop with trauma from the fighting. Crude estimates suggest that for each person killed directly by war, 9 will be killed indirectly. Now, economists and aid organizations are warning of an increase in world hunger, famine, and starvation. But today is a happy, exciting day. The graduate program in public health is graduating students in 4 different programs: the Masters of Public Health, the MS in Epidemiology, the MSW MPH, and the DPM MPH. Within the MPH, we are graduating public health professionals in 8 distinct specialty areas: general public health, environmental health and sciences, health promotion and disease prevention, epidemiology, biostatistics, healthcare management, outcome research, and global health. Congratulations to all graduates and your families. For me, it was a true privilege to get to know you in person or virtually. Having worked with you in the classroom, on the applied practice experience, the culminating experience, discussing your research during Student Research Day, or maybe having to address a challenging issue. I know that you have the skills, insights, and compassion to make a difference in the world. You will promote the core values of our program: community, sound science, diversity, social justice, and engagement. These are historic times for public health. I've never been more proud of our students than in their response to the COVID-19 pandemic. You demonstrated an unwavering dedication to the public's health and became an essential part of the support system Mount Sinai needed to save lives. Your actions were extremely inspiring. I'm thankful that many of you helped with the vaccination rollout here at Mount Sinai and the city. You have demonstrated that you have the skills, the passion, and the moral compass to be public health leaders. These attributes are desperately needed. Let's be honest, current public health leaders, including the one you see on this lecture, have failed you. The gun violence pandemic continues to wreak havoc in this country. Thought and prayers should no longer replace courage and meaningful prevention. We urgently need people like you who have the moral authority and a public health background to speak truth, evidence, and science to power. It is you, students and graduates of our program, who always remind me of the aspirational, purpose-driven mission of public health. You will soon enhance the health of whole populations. But remember that by improving the health of each individual is the essence of public health. By providing a human touch in an often inhumane environment, you will ultimately help to reestablish human dignity. Class of 2022, I could not be more honored to see you graduating today. I wish you all the best.
At the end. Will the candidates please come up individually on stage as their names are called? Olusolo Adibinibaje. Alexandria Albert. Juliana Emu. Wendy Barillas. Janice Teresa Batista. Tasneem Bouya. Ryan Berger. Leomeris Cabra Casares. Tanya Chen. Jacqueline Cortez. Nadira Daniels. Spandan Devi. Mark Edouard. Deborah K. Grant. Maha Hamdani. Hannah Johnson. Lovely Joseph. Lauren Jones. Savorni Mahmood. Anita Ofosu Apaya. Sherry Uman. Wellman Spello. Jamie Lee Polanco. Abdul Kadir. Pranjali Ranadive. Vanessa Rock. Gregory Rose. Sonia Rusinov. Larahib Salim. Cirrus Shravan. Amanda Singh. Francesca Sosa. Samantha Saint-Elin. Jenny Sun. Jenny walked earlier. She's a dual degree recipient for MHA and MPH. Congratulations, Jenny. Varsha Vanu. Arti Vikneswara Murthy. Shamar Wilson. Sahiti Yarakala.
Okay, I think we're done.
The 2022 commencement exercises of the Icahn School of Medicine at Mount Sinai are now concluded. May I remind you all present to remain seated until after the recessional is completed. Congratulations.